Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a simple truth. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan, and guess what they have planned for you? Not much. You see, success is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice and design. The future is not something we wait for. It's something we create through clear goals and intelligent planning. A goal is the starting point of all achievement. It's the seed from which every great success grows. Without goals, we drift through life like a ship. Without a compass, tossed around by circumstances, pulled by distractions, and never truly arriving anywhere meaningful. When you set a goal, you give your life direction. You decide what matters and what doesn't. You create a target for your energy, your focus, and your purpose. Jim Rohn often said, "The reason for setting goals is to give your life direction. Without that direction, days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and suddenly life has passed by without the fulfillment it could have had." When you have a goal, you wake up with intention. You know what needs to be done. You stop wandering and start moving. A goal ignites something powerful within you. It activates purpose. Purpose gives life meaning. It transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary action. It gives you a reason to get up early, to push harder, to stay consistent when it would be easier to quit. When your life has a purpose, every challenge becomes a lesson, every delay becomes preparation, and every setback becomes part of the story. Having a clear goal changes the way you see yourself. It shifts your mindset from being a victim of circumstance to becoming the architect of your destiny. When you write down your goal, you send a message to yourself and to the universe that says, "I'm serious about this." You stop reacting to life and start creating it. The difference between those who achieve and those who don't is often not intelligence or talent, it's clarity of purpose. People with clear goals simply know what they want, and because of that they attract the knowledge, people, and opportunities needed to achieve it. A goal also organizes your thoughts and your priorities. When you know what you want, you automatically know what you don't need. You stop wasting time on trivial things. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying yes only to what aligns with your vision. Life becomes simpler. Not because there are fewer tasks, but because there is focus. A person without goals is easily distracted because everything seems equally important. But a person with a goal knows what deserves their time and what doesn't. And here's something magical. Once you set a goal and truly commit to it, your subconscious mind begins to work on it day and night. You'll start noticing opportunities, ideas, and solutions that were invisible before. It's not luck, it's focus. You've tuned your mind to a specific frequency, and now it's attracting everything related to it. That's why Jim Rohn emphasized that goals must be clear, specific, and written down. A vague goal like "I want to be successful" doesn't move you, but a specific goal like "I will build a business that earns $100,000 a year by helping people solve a real problem" gives you a plan, a vision, and a reason to act. But the real power of a goal is not in the destination. It's in the transformation. Achieving the goal is not what makes you great. It's what you become on the journey. When you pursue a meaningful goal, you develop new habits, discipline, confidence, and resilience. You grow. The real reward is not the trophy, not the money, not the applause. It's the evolution of your character. Because when you reach one goal, you can set another, higher one, knowing that you've become the kind of person who can achieve it. So never underestimate the power of a goal. It gives you focus in chaos, direction in confusion, and strength in struggle. Without goals, you merely exist. With goals, you truly live. A goal transforms life from random activity into meaningful achievement. It turns dreams into plans, and plans into results. The moment you decide on a goal is the moment your future begins to take shape. One decision, one commitment, one vision at a time. There is a simple but powerful formula for goal setting that can completely transform your life if you truly commit to it. It's not complicated, but it demands clarity, discipline, and action. The formula is this: decide what you want, write it down, set a deadline, make a plan, and take consistent action. Every great achievement in history can be traced back to this simple structure. People who achieve great things don't stumble upon success. They design it through deliberate intention and consistent effort. The first step is to decide what you want. This sounds simple, but most people never really do it. They say things like, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy, but they never define what that actually means. Success to one person might mean financial freedom, while to another it might mean time freedom, or making an impact. You can't hit a target you haven't defined. The clearer you are about what you want, the more power you give your mind to focus on it. Jim Rohn used to say, you cannot make progress without decision. Decision is the doorway to progress. Once you decide, everything else begins to move in your favor. After you decide, the next step is to write it down. Writing crystallizes thought. It transforms a vague idea into something concrete. A goal that is only in your head is like a cloud. It floats around without direction and disappears easily. But when you write it down, you give it form. You make a promise to yourself. That simple act of putting pen to paper activates commitment. It's no longer a wish or a dream. It becomes a target. A written goal is a contract between your present self and your future self. Next, you must set a deadline. A goal without a deadline has no urgency. It stays in the land of someday, and someday usually means never. A deadline gives your dream a sense of seriousness. It tells your mind and your actions, this must happen by this time. Deadlines don't just push you to act, they help you measure progress. When you attach a timeline to your goal, you transform your desire into a commitment, and that commitment gives you energy. It's what keeps you from procrastinating or drifting aimlessly. The fourth part of the formula is to make a plan. A plan turns a goal into a strategy. It breaks down what seems impossible into manageable steps. It helps you see the path forward instead of being overwhelmed by the destination. Your plan doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be clear enough to get you started. Too many people spend their time trying to create the perfect plan before they act, and they end up doing nothing. Remember, you can always adjust your plan along the way. Plans are flexible. Goals are fixed. The point is to move forward, learn, adapt, and grow. And finally, the most important part, take consistent action. This is where the dreamers are separated from the doers. A plan on paper means nothing without execution. Small, daily, consistent actions compound into massive results over time. Success rarely comes from one big move. It's built by tiny, disciplined steps repeated over and over again. You don't have to see the entire staircase. You just have to take the next step. The key is consistency, not intensity. Anyone can be motivated for a day, but only the disciplined stay consistent for years. When you apply this formula, something incredible happens. Your life gains momentum. You move from wishing to doing, from hoping to achieving. Each goal you set and accomplish gives you confidence for the next one. You begin to see proof that your actions matter, that your decisions have power. This creates a feedback loop of belief, discipline, and results. Goal setting isn't just about achieving things, it's about designing your life with intention. It's about choosing your direction rather than drifting in uncertainty. Decide clearly what you want, write it down, set a deadline, plan your moves, and act every single day. This formula, though simple, is one of the most powerful tools in the world. Because when you follow it consistently, your goals stop being distant dreams. They become inevitable realities. Planning is the bridge between goals and achievement. You can have all the ambition in the world, but without a plan, ambition quickly turns into frustration. A plan gives structure to your dreams. It transforms a vague desire into a step-by-step roadmap. Without a plan, life happens by accident. With a plan, life happens by design. Jim Rohn used to say, don't start your day until you have it finished. What he meant was simple: don't begin your day until you've already planned it out on paper, in your mind and in your spirit. Planning is the act of mentally finishing something before you even begin. When you plan, you take control of your time. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. Most people spend their days responding to whatever comes their way, phone calls, messages, distractions, without ever steering their own direction. But when you have a plan, your day works for you instead of against you. You know where to focus your energy. You know what to say yes to and what to decline. Planning gives you clarity, and clarity is one of the greatest advantages a person can have in life. A good plan doesn't just organize your tasks, it organizes your thoughts. It allows you to break big goals into small, actionable steps. You see, the human mind can be easily overwhelmed by large, undefined challenges. But when you divide them into manageable parts, they become achievable. If your goal is to write a book, for example, your plan might be to write 2 pages a day. That doesn't sound intimidating. Yet in a year, those 2 pages become a complete manuscript. Planning helps you turn mountains into molehills. It turns the impossible into the inevitable through small, consistent effort. But here's the truth. Life will rarely go exactly as planned. That's why your plan should be a compass, not a cage. The purpose of planning is not to predict the future, but to prepare for it. Flexibility is part of effective planning. When you plan, you create the framework, but you must also stay adaptable when circumstances change. Success belongs to those who can plan well and pivot quickly. The key is to stay committed to your goal, but flexible in your approach. Planning also has a powerful psychological effect. It builds confidence. When you have a plan, you feel in control. You may not have all the answers, but you know the next step. That certainty replaces anxiety with direction. It's not the size of your challenge that breaks you. It's the uncertainty of not knowing what to do next. A solid plan removes that uncertainty and gives you the courage to move forward even when things get tough. Another vital reason for planning is that it helps you measure progress. Without a plan, you can't tell if you're moving forward or in circles. A plan gives you checkpoints to evaluate where you stand. You can ask, am I closer to my goal today than I was last week? What needs to change? What worked? What didn't? This habit of reviewing your plan sharpens your awareness and helps you make better decisions over time. Progress becomes visible, and visible progress fuels motivation. Jim Rohn often said, better to have a plan and modify it than to have no plan at all. Many people fear planning because they worry it won't work perfectly. But perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. A rough plan executed with consistency beats a perfect plan that never leaves the notebook. The act of planning itself builds discipline, awareness, and accountability. Planning also gives meaning to your time. Every hour has a purpose when it's guided by a plan. You stop wasting time on distractions because you've already decided what matters most. A person with a plan values their time differently. They see time as currency, something to invest, not to spend carelessly. So, never underestimate the power of planning. It's what turns inspiration into execution, and execution into success. Planning is the tool that allows you to take your dreams out of the clouds and bring them down to earth. It transforms hopes into habits, confusion into clarity, and potential into performance. You can't control everything that happens in life, but you can always control how well you plan for it. And that single decision to live with a plan can change the entire direction of your life. Both short-term and long-term goals play vital roles in shaping the direction of your life. They are like the 2 wings of a bird. One keeps you balanced in the present, and the other helps you soar toward the future. Without one or the other, your progress becomes unstable. Short-term goals give you momentum, while long-term goals give you meaning. One keeps you moving, and the other ensures that you're moving in the right direction. Understanding how to use both effectively is one of the greatest secrets of achievement. Short-term goals are the small daily or weekly targets that build your habits and discipline. They're the immediate steps that move you closer to your vision. These goals create a sense of progress, which is essential for motivation. When you accomplish a small goal, it fuels your belief that the bigger ones are possible. For example, if your long-term goal is to become financially independent, your short-term goal might be to save a certain amount each month or to learn a new skill that increases your income. These small victories give you a sense of control and build the confidence you need to tackle larger challenges. Short-term goals also teach consistency. Success is never a single event. It's the accumulation of small actions done with focus and persistence. Every short-term goal is a promise you make and keep with yourself. When you set a goal to read for 30 minutes a day or exercise for 20 minutes, it's not just about reading or fitness, it's about building the discipline to follow through. That discipline, repeated over time, becomes the foundation of success. On the other hand, long-term goals are your vision, the big picture of what you ultimately want to achieve or who you want to become. They are your guiding star. Without a long-term vision, even short-term achievements can feel empty. Long-term goals give your life direction and purpose. They remind you of why your daily effort matters. They inspire patience, endurance, and perseverance. For example, becoming a best-selling author, building a successful business, or achieving complete time freedom are long-term goals that might take years to realize, but they are what give meaning to your short-term sacrifices. The challenge for most people is that they either think too short-term or too long-term. Some focus only on immediate results, and when they don't see them quickly, they quit. Others dream big but never break those dreams into practical steps, so their vision remains just that, a dream. The magic happens when you connect the two. Long-term goals give your short-term actions direction, and short-term goals give your long-term dreams traction. Without this connection, you risk either burning out or drifting endlessly. Short-term goals are about what you must do today. Long-term goals are about who you must become tomorrow. The short-term asks for effort. The long-term demands evolution. The person you are today can't achieve the goals you've imagined for your future. You must grow into that person, and that growth happens one short-term step at a time. Long-term goals also test your patience and vision. They force you to think strategically, to delay gratification, and to focus on sustainable progress. They remind you that real success takes time. Overnight success is a myth. It's always years of silent effort suddenly made visible. A strong long-term goal keeps you grounded when progress feels slow, because you know you're building something that lasts. The balance between short-term and long-term goals is what creates harmony in your journey. If you focus only on the long term, you might lose motivation because results take time. If you focus only on the short term, you might achieve small wins, but lose sight of the bigger picture. The secret is to make your short-term goals serve your long-term vision. Let every day, every week, every small achievement bring you closer to the life you envision. Jim Rohn often said, "Don't just set goals for what you want to achieve, set goals for who you want to become." Because in the end, success is not about reaching a destination, but about the person you become along the way. Your short-term goals build your habits shape your character, and your character determines your destiny. When you align both the short-term and long-term, you live with both purpose and progress. Each day becomes meaningful, and every effort adds up to something greater than yourself. That is the true art of goal setting, balancing what you're doing now with what you're ultimately becoming. Reviewing and refining your goals is one of the most important yet most overlooked parts of the success process. Setting a goal is powerful, but the journey toward it is rarely a straight line. Life changes, circumstances shift, priorities evolve, and if you never pause to reflect, you might find yourself climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. Reviewing and refining keep you aligned with your vision while allowing flexibility to adjust your strategy. Jim Rohn often said, "Don't just set your goals, study them, live with them, and adjust them as you grow." Progress isn't just about movement, it's about moving in the right direction. When you take time to review your goals regularly, you're reminding yourself of what matters most. It's easy to get lost in the noise of daily life, the endless tasks, distractions, and demands that compete for your attention. But reviewing brings your focus back to your vision. It recenters you. You might have set a goal months ago, but if you never revisit it, it fades from memory. Reviewing keeps your goals alive, visible, and emotionally connected to your daily actions. It's like watering a plant. Without regular attention, it withers, no matter how good the soil was in the beginning. The review process also helps you measure progress. What gets measured gets improved. When you sit down weekly, monthly, or quarterly to assess where you stand, you gain perspective. Ask yourself, what's working? What's not working? What do I need to change? These simple questions bring awareness. You can't improve what you don't observe. Many people give up too early because they think they're not making progress, but when they review their journey, they realize they've come much farther than they thought. Progress, even small, consistent progress, is a powerful motivator. Refinement is the next crucial step. It's not enough to just review. You must be willing to adapt. Goals are not set in stone. They are meant to evolve as you grow. What made sense 6 months ago might not make sense today. As you learn, as you experience new challenges, and as your vision expands, your goals must evolve too. Refinement means improving your plan, tightening your focus, or even adjusting the goal itself to better align with your values and direction. It's not about giving up. It's about leveling up. Refining your goals also builds resilience. Life will test your patience and your persistence. There will be setbacks, obstacles, and delays. When you review and refine, you learn to see these not as failures but as feedback. Every challenge becomes a clue that helps you adjust your approach. Maybe the timeline needs more flexibility, or perhaps the strategy needs to change. Reviewing allows you to turn frustration into insight and failure into growth. Consistency in review is where mastery is built. Make it a ritual. Every week, take a few moments to write down what went well, what could be better, and what you'll focus on next. Every month, evaluate whether your actions are moving you closer to your bigger goals. Every year, take a deep look at your life. What did you accomplish? What did you learn? And what needs to change for the next chapter? This rhythm of reflection keeps your life purposeful and prevents you from drifting. The act of reviewing also strengthens accountability. When you track your actions and measure your results, you build trust with yourself. You begin to see patterns. When you're focused, results appear. When you're distracted, progress stalls. That awareness gives you the power to correct your course early instead of waiting until you've wasted months or years. Refining your goals doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means improving your understanding of what truly matters and how best to get there. Sometimes it means aiming higher. Other times it means simplifying. Growth isn't always about doing more, it's often about doing what matters most. In the end, reviewing and refining your goals ensures that you remain both productive and purposeful. It keeps you humble enough to learn and strong enough to adapt. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Life rewards those who are willing to adjust their sails when the wind changes direction. When you make reviewing and refining a part of your lifestyle, you ensure that every step you take is deliberate, every lesson is valuable, and every goal is aligned with the person you are becoming. Commitment is the invisible force that turns goals into reality. It's the inner decision that says, no matter what happens, I'm not backing down until this is done. Without commitment, dreams remain wishes, plans remain ideas. Commitment is what separates those who try from those who triumph. It's the fire that keeps burning long after the initial spark of motivation fades away. Jim Rohn often said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. But beneath that discipline lies commitment, the unwavering promise to yourself that you'll stay the course, no matter how rough the journey becomes. Most people start with enthusiasm. They set goals, make plans, and feel inspired. But inspiration is temporary. Commitment, however, endures. It doesn't rely on emotion. It relies on decision. When you commit, you stop giving yourself an escape route. You stop negotiating with your excuses. It's no longer about how you feel. It's about what you've decided. True commitment doesn't say, I'll try. It says, I will. And that simple change in language shifts your entire mindset from possibility to certainty. The magic of commitment is that it transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. You don't need to be the smartest, fastest, or most talented. You just need to be consistent. Commitment creates momentum. When you show up every day, even when it's hard, even when results are slow, you build strength and credibility with yourself. Each day you honor your commitment. You reinforce your belief that you are someone who follows through. That belief becomes your foundation for success. Commitment also breeds creativity. When you're truly committed to something, your mind starts finding ways to make it happen. Challenges that once looked like walls begin to look like puzzles to solve. You become resourceful because quitting is no longer an option. Commitment fuels innovation. It pulls out your best ideas, your hidden potential, and your untapped resilience. Most breakthroughs don't happen at the beginning of a journey. They happen after long periods of persistence, after countless failures, doubts, and adjustments. Only the committed ever reach that point. When you commit, you also attract support. The universe seems to move in favor of those who are determined. People respect and gravitate toward those who show consistency and passion. Opportunities appear because commitment creates credibility. Others begin to believe in you because you believe in yourself enough to stay the course. But commitment is not blind stubbornness. It's intelligent perseverance. It doesn't mean refusing to adapt. It means refusing to give up. If your strategy isn't working, commitment helps you find a better one instead of walking away. It means being loyal to your vision, not necessarily to a specific method. The committed person says the goal stays the same, but I'll adjust my approach until I get there. Commitment also builds character. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your integrity. Every time you push through discomfort, you build resilience. Life will test your commitment through failure, boredom, setbacks, and distractions. But these tests aren't meant to stop you. They're meant to strengthen you. Commitment isn't proven when everything is easy. It's proven when everything is difficult. Jim Rohn often reminded us that most people don't fail because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. Commitment is what allows you to aim high and keep shooting until you reach the mark. It's about staying faithful to your dreams even when results are delayed. Success doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. The moment you truly commit, life changes. It's as if the universe aligns itself to help you. Doors open, ideas flow, and strength appears when you need it most. When you commit, you take ownership of your destiny. You stop waiting for chances and start creating them. In the end, commitment is more than a decision. It's a declaration of identity. It says, this is who I am and this is what I stand for. Once that declaration is made, every action aligns with it. Commitment doesn't guarantee an easy path, but it guarantees a meaningful one. And when you live with commitment, success stops being a question of if, it becomes a matter of when. Discipline is the quiet force behind every great success story. It's not glamorous or dramatic, but it's the difference between those who wish and those who achieve. While motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you moving. It's the daily decision to do what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Jim Rohn said it best. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge is built one decision, one action, one moment of self-control at a time. Discipline is not punishment. It's the highest form of self-respect. It means you care enough about your future to make choices today that honor it. Every act of discipline says, I deserve better. When you discipline yourself to wake up early, to plan your day, to study when you could relax, or to save when you could spend, you're telling your mind and body that your vision is more important than your comfort. And over time, that consistency compounds into extraordinary results. The truth about discipline is that it's not something you're born with. It's something you build. It grows through repetition and reinforcement. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Like a muscle, discipline strengthens every time you use it and weakens every time you neglect it. Each day you choose structure over chaos, progress over procrastination. You're training yourself to live by design instead of default. Discipline is the ultimate form of freedom because it gives you control over your life instead of being controlled by impulse or circumstance. Discipline also creates trust in yourself. When you say you'll do something and you follow through, you build credibility with your own mind. You stop doubting yourself. You stop breaking promises to yourself. That internal integrity becomes the foundation of confidence. A disciplined person knows that even on the hardest days, they can rely on themselves to show up. That trust is what allows you to set bigger goals, take more risks, and handle greater responsibility because you've proven to yourself that you can be counted on. Most people underestimate the power of small disciplines practiced daily. They think success comes from massive effort or one big breakthrough, but in reality, it's built quietly, one choice at a time. Reading 10 pages a day may not seem like much, but over a year it's several books. Saving a small percentage of your income might feel insignificant, but over time it builds wealth. Exercising for 30 minutes might not transform your body overnight, but done consistently, it reshapes your health and energy. Discipline compounds. It turns small steps into giant leaps. There's also a deep satisfaction that comes from discipline. When you live with discipline, you live with order, purpose, and peace of mind. You no longer feel guilty about wasted time or missed opportunities because you know you're giving your best. Discipline brings pride. It gives you the quiet confidence that you're progressing, even if the results aren't visible yet. The disciplined person sleeps better at night because they know they honored their commitments, both to themselves and to others. But make no mistake, discipline is not always easy. It requires sacrifice. It often asks you to do the opposite of what's comfortable. It means saying no when everyone else says yes. It means focusing when others are distracted. Discipline will test your patience, your focus, and your consistency. Yet the pain of discipline is always smaller than the pain of regret. You can either experience the discomfort of self-control today or the disappointment of missed potential tomorrow. Jim Rohn used to say, we must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is that discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. The pain of discipline builds you, but the pain of regret breaks you. When you choose discipline, you're choosing your growth, your strength, and your future. In the end, discipline is not about perfection. It's about persistence. You will slip, you will get tired, and you will want to quit. But every time you get back up and start again, you strengthen your willpower. That resilience becomes your greatest asset. Discipline is what allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. It turns potential into power and dreams into achievements. The reward of discipline is not just success, it's freedom. The freedom to live on your own terms. The freedom to become the person you were meant to be. Discipline gives you the ability to control your habits, your time, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny. It is the foundation of all progress, and the one trait that guarantees that your goals won't just stay written on paper, they'll become the reality you live every day. So here's my message. Don't just leave your life to chance. Design it. Don't set. Wait for opportunity. Don't set hope for success. Plan for it. The same wind blows on us all, the wind of opportunity, the wind of change. But it's the set of your sail, your goals and your plans that determine where you'll land. So today, take out your notebook. Write down your dreams. Turn them into goals. Turn goals into plans. Turn plans into actions. And turn your life into a masterpiece.